Hey, sure is a beautiful day. Hope you don't waste it worrying about stuff. Okay, have a super freaking awesome day.
It's said that if you stop being curious, you stop growing. I'm David Wiley. This is Dave Wants to Know. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to Dave Wants to Know. We've got another great guest with us today, a popular comedian, philosopher, and some people have called him the worst motivational speaker of all time. And why not have him on Dave Wants to Know? We're talking about the incredible Rodney Norman. Rodney!
Yes. Hello. Hello, good
The,
people.
the world's worst motivational speaker.
Yes.
Do you embrace that?
I'm an anti-motivational speaker. No, the whole thing was a plan to basically mock and ridicule life coaches on Instagram. And because I've been working on this character that's loosely based off my grandfather, who was an alcoholic.
Okay.
And I'd been kind of playing around with that character. And one day I'm sitting on Instagram watching a friend of mine who is a beautiful human being. This man is beautiful inside and out. He's got a great tan. He's got a great body. He lives in a mansion, drives a Ferrari, has a swimming pool, married to a beautiful woman who also is very professional, that's made a lot of money. Perfect life. And he decides he wants to make videos and become an influencer. And I was watching his video one day. It'd been up for 3 days. It had 8 views. Nobody cared. And even though he was delivering a very positive message, no one paid him any mind at all. And it made me laugh because I was like, the problem is that people are looking at him going, "What do you know about my life? What do you know about your life is perfect. Of course, everything is great to you." I don't know why my camera keeps shifting. I need to stop using my hands.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those. This is a new camera, and apparently, when I wave, it wants to move or something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, so as
Rodney
I'm watching,
Norman the mime now as well.
yeah. So as I'm watching my friend, it just dawned on me. I was like, "That's it. My grandfather as the world's worst life coach." And so I set out to basically mock and ridicule the entire industry because they thought most of it was nonsense, and ended up becoming one of them in the meantime. So
It is funny. So people who haven't seen you on Facebook or on Instagram, we're seeing the real Rodney Norman, but he has this character that I stumbled across a few years ago. And at first I thought you were what's the politically correct way, an unhoused person who just was saying something profound. And then I like looked you up and I'm like, no, this is very convincing. I think the first time I saw you, and I don't know if it was the following January 6th, but it was after some big political commotion and you were trying to explain it. That there was some people over here that said one thing and people said, no, we should do it another way. And I still laugh about that. And I do that with my kids when they're like, well, what should we do? Well, I do a bad imitation of you.
well, that was I was trying to explain the George Floyd riots without offending anybody.
It was brilliant.
So, so the most important thing you gotta remember is, okay, some people were, they were doing some stuff, and then other people were like, hey, don't do that stuff, and then other people were like, hey, yeah, they should do, that stuff. It's good that they're doing that stuff, and then the other people were like, I don't think they should be doing that stuff, and then and then and then thing and then the thing and then thing the one the do so things are like so uh, what I'm trying to say is that in conclusion, I have I have no idea.
Okay. It was one of
uh,
those things where when I made the video, I sat there thinking about it, thought that's the dumbest thing I've ever done. And I wasn't going to post it because I thought it was too stupid. But then I thought, well, why not? Let's just post it, see what happens. And
well, and
my chagrin, it went crazy.
it blew up. Yeah, absolutely. You talk about the, just kind of dumb advice and you kind of mocking people that do that for a living. I mean, I just watched a video. I think you posted either today or yesterday about, um, don't you feeling sorry for yourself? Well, nobody's paying attention to you. Something to that, so
They're
everybody
worried about
else.
themselves to be worried about you.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Where does that, so where do you come up with your bits? Is it just something you kind of do, off the top of your head at the moment, or is it something you plan out?
Most of the time, it's something that I feel like I need to hear myself. You know,
Okay.
I'm my first audience member, and I'll just be sitting around feeling sorry for myself or whatever, and then I think about what do I need to hear right now to get me out of this way of thinking, and that's usually where I come up with these ideas. And then as soon as I have the idea, just wherever I'm at or wherever I'm doing, I pull over or whatever and record it. Usually it's the first take that I use. I hardly ever have to really reshoot anything. It's usually just let it roll. And if there's mistakes, who cares? You know what I mean? In fact, I
Well, if
remember
they're
early on, I was doing a video and I started coughing in the middle of it. And so as I'm coughing so hard, I'm thinking I'm going to have to reshoot this. And then I thought, no, my character doesn't care. So as soon as I stopped coughing, I just picked up where I left off, didn't even acknowledge the cough at all, and just kept going. And by the time I finally finished the video, I was laughing in my inside so hard. It took me a while to uh, pull it together. And that's kind of from that point on. I'm just like, the mistakes, the audio's not right, the picture's not right. I mess up the words. I kind of get lost in what I'm saying. Doesn't matter. Just do it anyway. And that's part of the message anyway that I'm trying to convey is that we've gotten so used to having everything perfect. You got to have the videos got to be perfect. It's got to be framed right. You got to look good. Your hair's got to be perfect. You got to have a script and have it written out and have it all figured out through neuro linguistic programming for ultimate maximum effect and have all the right buzzwords and algorithm perfection and all those things. And I'm just like, screw it all. It's all dumb. It's just, I'm just the dude talking to other people trying to convey a dumb idea and just leave it at that and have fun with it.
so the idea of the character that you play on social media comes from your grandfather.
Yes.
So
Yeah. It was
did you
definitely,
have kind of a dysfunctional family growing up?
yes, um, my mother's side of the family, it was funny because my grandfather was a philandering, womanizing, uh, alcoholic, and my grandmother was a very devout Christian. Um, Worked at the temple and was just the salt of the earth. And she was married to this good for nothing drunkard. And it set up for a very interesting childhood. There were times he would get so drunk that he would get mean, and when he got mean, that's when we all had to leave, and that's when mom would put us all in the car, and we'd go get ice cream.
I guess there's one good
And,
thing out
and
of it,
so,
right?
yeah, so I was just I remember the first time as a kid that I realized the reason we got to go get ice cream so much was because Grandpa was drunk and getting mean. Usually he
I
was
guess
just tipsy. When he was tipsy, he was funny. He was
right.
just telling jokes all the time, and he loved to tell dirty jokes to his kids. That was always
Nice.
fun. He's Scottish, right? And so he pulled me aside one day. I think I was about 7 or 8 years old, and he says, "Rodney, do you know why? You know what a true Scotsman wears under their kilt?" And I said, uh, "No, I think it's nothing." And he goes, "Oh, we tried that for a while, but we got tired of dragging our dicks in the dirt. So now we just wear matching underwear."
He told that to you as a kid.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So is that where your sense of humor comes from? Is it
I
your
certainly think it's
grandfather?
fun, but yeah, just sort of that just straightforward, honest banter. Got used to it from hearing it from a grandpa. It was fun.
Oh boy. So then you joined the Marine Corps when you got a little older?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I went on a mission, a church mission for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
So I came back. I was, virgin, never drank, never smoked. And I figured, well, the perfect thing for me to do is join the Marine Corps. And
Yes.
it was fun. It was a great experience. And I have all the respect for those who've had to actually go into combat. So,
So it's funny to me because I look at you and everybody looks at you and you don't obviously look like a Marine now. When did you decide? Because I saw on your website you actually did a commercial maybe what 15, 20 years ago, and you're clean shaven and
yeah.
just look like, regular guy. When did you decide I'm just going to let loose? And how did you get your wife to buy in on it?
Well, I've grown the beard, here and there over the years. And I've had longer hair. In fact, when we met, I had pretty long hair um, at the time. I've always kind of played around with my look. I've never been real consistent with it. But no, I got this idea to do a stand up comedy special as Santa Claus. And I decided if I was going to do it, I was going to do it with a full beard. And
Okay.
I got to the point where, I is coming in, white and silver. And well, I've had to color my hair for most of uh, my adult life because I have you can kind of see it there. I have vitiligo, and
Oh,
part of that is that I went gray very early, and probably one day I just realized that I was tired of dyeing my hair, so I just let it grow in, and it was gray, and I thought, hey, I could grow this. I think I'm right at that perfect point for Santa. So I grew out the beard, the hair, and in that time frame of growing it out to do the Santa special, that's when the character kind of blew up on the internet. So
so was your Santa off-color drunk?
no, everybody
Oh,
plays other pedophile drunk as Santa. And I thought, why do that? You're doing a disservice to the whole thing because Santa, you know, in uh, in in reality, has been around, been alive for centuries. He's seen everything.
oh
He's
yeah.
quite literally, if he were true, if it were really Santa, he would be literally be the most fascinating human being in the world. I thought,
True.
why play that as stupid, you know, bad mall Santa when he could play him straight up? And so that's the approach I took, sort of a very kid friendly, well, not completely kid friendly, but you know, I just played him straight up, and I had more fun with it. In fact, I'm hoping to do more with him. I've actually
Oh, that
become an actual Santa. I've got like 5 Santa suits, and I've done the whole
really?
sit down and, you know, have the kids come up and tell me what they want for Christmas and everything, and, oh, it's the best. It's something I never planned on doing, and then when I finally, you know, people heard that I could do Santa and that I had a Santa suit, people started hiring me to do it, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll come and sit at your preschool on a Thursday night and make $400. Let's do it." And, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
I feel like we've learned something about Rodney Norman that maybe not everybody knew. That
Yeah.
you, not, yeah, interesting. So you mentioned you started doing stand up or had a show as Santa, but then you kind of got into stand up and even I think won a contest at one point.
Well, no, I've been in stand up for a long time. I started in stand up in '98, November of '98. So I've been doing stand up for many years. I did the Santa in 2020.
Oh, okay. So that was later
And
on.
that winter, that's when I filmed it for Dry Bar. So it was just having the years of being a stand up comedian, and then the idea of Santa being a stand up comedian uh, was just a fun idea. So it was pretty cool. One of the things I'm most proud of, I think, is my Santa stand up. So
Very cool. And then we could still find that on YouTube or
oh yeah, if you just go to YouTube, put Santa stand up Dry Bar, you'll find it. It's about 10 minutes long.
so I found it interesting in looking at your bio that you do this street philosopher, sage, as we said, the worst motivational speaker in the world, but you actually hold a philosophy degree.
Yes, I have a 4-year Bachelor of Science degree from Utah Valley University.
So, do you mix in real? Are we hearing Plato mixed in with some of
Oh,
your?
absolutely. Yeah, I mixed in Plato, Epictetus, um, Nietzsche, Kant. All of it gets thrown in there somehow or somewhere. It's like I
Really?
tell people, I trick people into learning philosophy, so it's a lot of
So,
fun.
ultimately, the people who follow you, and are you just trying to give them a smile in the day? Are you trying to give them? Is there an actual method to your madness as far as
Well,
you're trying to get a message, or is it just
I've always looked at it that if you're going to make a video, I always want it to be either educational, enlightening, or encouraging. And if I can do all three at the same time, that to me is the perfect video. And so when working on ideas, I'm always thinking, how do I educate people, enlighten people, or entertain people? And through the character, I'm able to entertain them, through the mannerisms and speech patterns and stuff. And I got a lot of this speech pattern, not only just from my drunk grandfather, but also listening to um, really super intellectuals like Einstein and Tesla. The thing you notice about them is that they are not concerned about the things that we're concerned with. Just normal. I mean, they're not trying to impress you. They're just trying to convey an idea to people that they don't think understand what they're saying. And so it's like they're talking down to you, but they're trying not to be um, condescending. And it's kind
uh,
of an interesting way of speaking. And so I kind of honed in on that, where it's like, how do you be, it's like you're talking to a child, but it's a child that you love and respect. And so you're trying to say it in a way that they'll understand it, but not in a way that you're trying to be condescending to them. And that's a sweet spot that I try to find when I'm was working on the character completely.
Not that he's a comedian, but I think it sounds like to me, in a way, you're describing Elon Musk. I find him very fascinating to listen to. I don't find him necessarily condescending, but he knows he's really smart.
Oh yes,
Um,
yeah, yeah, and that's exactly it. Is you see these very intelligent, very intellectual people that, like I said, they're not trying to be, oh, look at me, I'm a genius, because that doesn't matter to them. They don't care if you think they're a genius or not. They know they're a genius. They don't need your
right.
approval. That's not what they're about. And kind of tapping into that, it's been a lot of fun.
Your character giving relationship advice. That's another one that I mean, your character would be the last person I would come to, but you went off on this one where why can't I find the right person? Well, and then it started getting into alien DNA and all. I was like, oh my, where is this coming from?
Yeah, I said a lot of it's just drawing from what's going on in the world, and just it's all improv, so it's kind of whatever pops into my head. The
I
crazier,
notice you
the
don't.
funnier, the more enjoyable it is to me.
I notice you don't touch politics, even though you mentioned that one video was kind of influenced by what was happening in the country at that time. And you don't really get into pop culture references. Your stuff is just as good today as it will be 5 years from now, and just as relevant.
Because I kind of look at what, because the internet's forever, and at some point in time, my grandkids are going to see this stuff, and I just want to be able to produce something, put something out there that'll be beneficial to them. And yeah, I've never been really a very crass person. I don't, I'm not. I mean, I get naughty sometimes. I mean, I'm not, uh, trying to say I should be a saint, be sainthood or anything, but I generally work fairly clean, and a lot of it is just being really dirty. I just don't think that way. I'm not geared to uh, write that kind of stuff.
I
And
know
yeah,
you
no,
post pic.
politics, because here's my thing. I find politics and dirty jokes are basically just hack, because you're just telling the same jokes over and over again. Politics, it's the same joke, because it's like everybody who disagrees with me is either stupid or evil. And that's all the politics. That's all political jokes are, is
You just
that
changed the name,
guy's a moron, that guy's
right?
evil, all that stuff. And then, dirty jokes. I mean, you're limited to just a few um punchlines, because it all comes to, something dirty and filthy, and there's only a handful of those lines. So to me, it's just I just don't write that way, because I want to be more creative, and try to be more original, not just be another guy doing dick jokes.
Another thing I want to ask you about it, I see you sell T-shirts, and I've seen you wear them. That you're an emotional support human.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Um, well, you see the people with the emotional support animals,
Yeah.
and that they need these animals to help them through the day. And it just dawned on me one time that I'm an emotional support human, and so I started making jokes about it, and then people was like, "Oh, that should be a T-shirt." So I started making the T-shirts, and then shortly after I did, all of a sudden they're popping up all over the place. But
You
I
ever
don't know.
tried? You ever tried to get on the flight, like get your wife get you on a flight for free because you're
That would that would be fun. I
yeah.
have had people wear the T-shirts on flights, and joke about it, but nobody's ever actually pulled off a free ticket yet.
Hey, I see also another thing is kind of in a lot of your videos is you end with the have a super freaking day. So you give us your little pearl of wisdom, and then so you got that going for you. You have a super freaking day. Where did that come from?
It sort of evolved, actually. The original concept was a super awesome day. Have a super awesome day, which if uh, look at it, it spells out SAD or sad. And because early on, I was creating a lot of these, anagrams and stuff. Because every motivational person has, they turn everything into some motivational uh,
Right.
thing. So I was just coming out with crazy things that would spell out, something terrible, but try to be positive. So I started off with super awesome day, or um, and the character just sort of started adding freaking to everything. Instead of the F word, he says just freaking.
Right.
And so super freaking awesome day, it just sort of turned into that. Came and now if I don't say it, people get mad. So
Well, I want to tell you something that just from a personal standpoint, I'm a person who, and I have probably never publicly admitted this, but people who know me, I struggle with depression and I'm hard on myself. And so you fit your your little clips and everything just hit me where I'm living, man. And it's like there are days where I go, okay, you really have personally have given me the motivation when you say nobody cares, have a good day. You know, I'm like, you're right, nobody cares. You know, I got to take care of myself and have a great day. And so I appreciate that from a personal standpoint.
oh, thank you. Because my mother, growing up as a kid, she had a lot of kids to have to deal with, and she used to have a lot of anxiety and had bouts of depression. And so I always saw it as my goal every day was to make her laugh, and to be, well, an emotional support human to my mother.
To your mother.
And um so as I've gotten older, that's been a big part of it, is just getting helping people kind of get out of those ruts that we fall into. And I do it myself, and you could go through all that therapy and everything, and what the therapy is trying to teach you to do is, hey, if you got dumb things that are you're depressing you because you're thinking about them, well, what you need to do, stop thinking about them. It's, I mean, just think about something else. I mean, that literally, you go through all that therapy, and that's what they're trying to teach you to do. Is you know, you don't necessarily have to ignore the issue, but at least deal with it and put it in its proper framing for your life. You don't need to let it control and destroy you. Just if you feel like you need to visit for a second, visit with it for a second and move on. You don't need to
Yeah.
destroy an entire day thinking about something that happened to you when you were 7. I mean,
Oh
that's just crazy that we do that to ourselves. And
man,
so, uh,
you are talking to the king of that, you know. Um and yeah,
yeah, you
you're
beat
preaching
yourself
to me,
up
man.
because of something you said to somebody in a lunchroom and uh, back in 1977. I mean, why are we doing that to ourselves?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I do still do that, but with your help and others, I am trying to get away from that. You
Well,
know,
and that's part of have a super freaking awesome day. Really, the message behind that is that you can decide to have a good day. You can decide that regardless of everything else going on being horrible, you can still function. And sure, the world may not be the way you want it to be, but hey, you got a roof over your head. You got you don't have to worry about where your next meal's coming from. Um, that's amazing. That, I mean, if you have those things, you're better than 90% of the entire world, for crying out loud. You know,
You're right.
and
So
just getting people to just realize how much. I mean, this is an amazing time to be alive. I mean, we just being a normal person in the United States, you're already living better than 90% of the people that ever existed. That's pretty amazing. You should
that is
we
pretty
should
amazing.
wake up every day and go, this is pretty freaking awesome. You know, because it really is. It's incredible. And getting people to see that, getting people to see the beauty and the abundance that they have in their life. And when you start seeing it that way, you know, your problems don't seem so that big of a deal. In fact, you start, getting people to understand that you don't really have problems, you have challenges. And when you rise up and you say, hey, I can fix this, I can find a way through this. And if I succeed, it's going to be awesome. If I don't, eh, I'm not any all that worse off than I was anyway. So you learn something. And that to me, that's the funnest part, is getting people to really just kind of take responsibility for their own life and for their own happiness, and just really grab onto it.
Anyone who needs a little kick in their rear end or some motivation and a little chuckle too, I recommend highly that you follow Rodney. Rodney, where can we find you? And still doing stand up shows?
Oh yeah, I'm doing stand up. If you go to rodneynorman.com, you can find all my merch. You can get yourself a support human t-shirt and other stuff. I've got all my uh, links to my social media, and then of course a place where you can buy tickets for my upcoming shows. I'm going to be in Oregon for the next couple weekends, starting next week. I'm in my hometown of Stafford Springs, Connecticut this weekend.
Okay.
And but the next 2 weeks I'm going to be in Oregon, and then after that I think I'm going to be Atlantic City coming up
Big
in
time.
May.
Well, we got to get you out here. I'm here in Southern California. I'd love to come see if you ever come out this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we have a super freaking awesome day from you to wrap up the show?
Sure. Hey, just remember, no matter how bad, terrible, miserable, rotten your life is, that it's really not that bad. So you need to just get over yourself, and just know that if you decide you just want to have a good day, you can do it. There's nobody keeping score or anything. So think about it for a while. Okay, have a super freaking awesome day and stuff. Okay, bye.
Rodney Norman, I'm not sure you're the world's worst motivational speaker. I'm gonna move you. I think you should be higher on the list. But Rodney Norman, comedian, philosopher, go to his website, check out his Facebook and his Instagram, all his social media sites. He's hilarious and motivational, and I appreciate you being on Dave Wants to Know.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
Thanks again to Rodney Norman for being our guest, and thank you for tuning in to Dave Wants to Know. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll see you next time.